Howdy folks, and welcome back for another intermediate Blender class. And today we're going to be looking at what I like to call projection painting stencil mode. I don't know what Blender actually calls it, but it is kind of projection painting. So let's get started. I'm just going to go into edit mode. I'm going to just delete some of our delete the faces we don't need from our default cube. I'm just using my cursor keys to go into orthographic view. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to unwrap this. So first of all, well, let's make a few rules here for what we want to do. The very first rule, if you want to try this, is you need to be in Evee. This doesn't work in cycles, so I've checked to make sure that I'm using the Evee rendering engine, and I am, so that's really good. So let's press U. I'm going to choose project from view with bounds, which means it'll unpack it to the largest size available. Ping. So that's done. So let's have a look at our UV image editor. There we can see it. Now we've not got a texture on that yet, so I'm just going to say new. We've got an untitled texture. It's black, it's fine. So I'm going to call that UV map, just so we know what it's called. We can keep the alpha, that's fine. And there we have it. So let's go back to properties. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into the shader editor. So we can do that up here, shader editor. Oh no, actually I'm lying. Before I do that, I'm just making sure that I've got a texture assigned to that, and we're using nodes here. So now let's go into our shader editor. Here we've got our shader. You can see our default texture, which is applied to the material output. I'm just going to disconnect that for now. What I want to do is, I'm just going to make that a bit smaller so we can see what we're doing. I'm just going to give this a base colour. We'll use black in this case. I'm going to duplicate that node with Shift D, and we'll give that one a white base colour. Then I'm going to add in a new node, so I'm going to say add, I'm going to search, and we want a mix node, just a normal mix shader. And what we want to do is we want to connect the white one up to the top, the black one to the bottom. We want to add in a texture node. Texture, let's search for it. Sorry, I started to sing then, I tend to do that sometimes. Texture, image texture is what we want. There we go, ping. And we want to set that to our UV map. And we're going to put the colour into the base colour on the black one. And we're going to put the alpha into the factor of the mix. And then we're going to connect that up to our surface. And that's all we need to do for the nodes. This is going to use, we're going to use texture painting. And we're going to use the alpha of the UV map as a mask. Oh, sounds a bit complicated, it's not really. So let's go back to our 3D viewport. Let's go into shaded view, or rendered view rather. What I need to do now is I need to go into texture paint mode, and here we can see we've got our options for texture painting. Under brushes, what I want to do is I want to select an image. We're going to choose an image as a brush, and we can click on this little folder to load an image, and I've got one in here that I'm going to use. You can see I'm using preview here, which makes it super easy. So I'm just going to choose that one. Hopefully it will show us. Then we need to scroll down to texture, and we're going to choose a new texture, and you can see that there's nothing really there at the moment. So what we can do is we can go into our texture properties and we can choose, well, let's open it. We'll go to the same folder again and we'll choose the same texture. Brilliant. Now if we go back into our tools there, just make sure that we've picked that up. Now this is currently set to tiled. We don't want that. We actually want to set it to stencil. And like magic, as you can see, just close that a little bit, you can see that we've got this weird and wonderful thing in the corner. That's actually our image that we can paint with. So you can use, if I can remember how to do this, Control and right mouse button will rotate it, and Shift and right mouse button will scale it. So let's scale that up a little bit, and I'm pretty sure that there's a way of moving it as well, if I can remember how to do that. Not that one. I'm using all my keys now. There we go. It's just a right mouse button. So let's just rotate that a little bit more, so it's not so wonky. There we go. And scale it. Right. Now we can paint over that. Look at that. That's wonderful, isn't it? And bear in mind, that's painting onto our UV texture. This is a super easy way of applying decals to your UV layouts, to whatever you're doing. And bear in mind, you can have different images, so we could load different textures in. And as you can see, it's super easy to do, and you don't really need to worry about kind of rubbing out bits of the decals that you've already placed. And yeah, it's an excellent thing to play around with. It's very interesting and gives you quite nice results. So there we go. You can see we've got our image, and if we went back into our UV editor, if we select the right texture, there you can see that we've got it applied to our UV map, and we don't have to mess around with UV map scaling and moving them and all this kind of stuff to try and get the effect. So let's go back to modeling mode, and there we can see all nicely done. And if we wanted to, we could go into our UV editor and we could save our UV map when now it's completed. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you thought that might be fun or useful in any Blender work you do. So don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. You can't comment because I've turned that off, so well, like and subscribe it. And take care everybody, have fun, check the channel for new updates. Take care, I've said that twice now, and I'll see you again next time. Bye for now.